Hey guys, this is Pib Agent, and today I'm showcasing my MagBlade Gank build. This build is designed to sabotage enemy equipment such as fort camps and pick off single targets in Cyrodiil. It is important to note that this build is extremely squishy and only has about 10 to 16k of health. Keeping yourself alive essentially boils down to having enough magic to use Shadowy Disguise every couple of seconds, or staying stealth when you do not. This build is a vampire at stage 4, which grants you the passive Dark Stalker. This allows you to ignore the movement speed penalty while stealthed. All attribute points, as you can see, are currently stacked into the magic attribute point field, and the boon is set to the Apprentice, which grants you increased spell damage. Now, the armor sets that are currently in use are 1-piece Warlock Kina for the shoulder, 5-piece War Maiden, and 5-piece Julianos. Your weapons on both bars should be the Flame Staff with the Nirnhone trait. All of the armor traits should be set into vines, and you may in fact need to transmute gear pieces like the Moloch Kina to the correct trait if it's not already set to that. Now, the other option is if your set or your weapon isn't part of the Juliano set, which is craftable, you may also have to, and they're part of the drop set, such as War Maidens, you may have to transmute those as well. Now, as you can see, what I have set, the enchantments on the armor are currently set to max magic. On the accessories, they should be set to spell damage, so the max should be 174 spell damage for each piece of accessory that you have on your gear. And finally, the weapon damage enchantment should be the weapon damage enchantment at that point, which increases your weapon damage and spell damage by 348 for 5 seconds. The food that's in use is the Ghastly Eyeball. This is a witch's festival food. It increases your max magic by 4256 and your max recovery by 425 for 2 hours. Now, in the champion point system, I have 100 points into Arcanus, which increases your magic recovery by 15%. I have 30 points in the Tenacity field, which increases the magic and stamina of your fully charged heavy attacks. And in the Shadow field, I have 100 points in, which reduces the cost of your sneak by 35%. In the blue constellation, I have 30 points in Elemental Expert. This increases your flame, frost, shock, and magic damage done by a certain percentage. In the Atronach field, I have 100 points into Master at Arms, which increases your damage done with direct damage attacks by 25%. In the Ritual, I have 100 points set into Thaumaturge, this increases your damage done with damage over time effects by 25%. In the Red Constellation, I have 100 points into Ironclad, which reduces your damage taken against direct damage attacks by 25%, and 100 points into Resistance, which increases your critical resistance by 1650. In the Lady, I have 30 points set into Light Armor Focus. This increases your physical resistance by by a certain percentage based on the number of light armor pieces that you have set. Now, the primary skill bar consists of Flame Reach, which knocks an enemy back, Swallow Soul, that steals enemy life force, and also grants you minor vitality. Impale, which acts as your execute, which will kill them, which will down them at 25% health or below. Mage Light, which you can use to stealth out or see if there is anybody stealth nearby, and of course Shadowy Disguise to keep yourself hidden. The chief skill here that you'll want is your ultimate Soul Assault, which can burn an enemy down with dealing over 70,000 magic damage. Now, on the second bar, You have Grim Focus, which gives you Minor Berserk, which increases your damage done by 8% for 20 seconds. You want to proc this first before you actually attack, as it'll increase the overall damage done by your Soul Assault, which is now up to 76k. The second skill in the bar is Purge, and this is used to clear off dots if you've been hit by them, and you can just clear it really quick. The third skill is Blur, which you can increase your major invasion, and Mist Form, which reduces your damage by 75% for 3 seconds. And you also have Shadow Disguise, taking up the fifth skill in your bar on your support bar. Now, I do have Barrier set here, but you can choose any other ultimate that you think might be more useful to you in this instance. In this regards, this just happens to be the skill that I've added, but it's not used as frequently as you would think. Now, as far as the killing combination, back on the primary bar, the killing combination is essentially Heavy Attack, Flame Reach, and Soul Assault, and then if they survive after the Soul Assault, but they're at 25% health or lower, you can use Impale on them. Now, half the battle is correctly sizing up your target. For example, you may want to avoid attacking a Dragonite tank meta that can 1vx half of a faction, unless of course you're building ultimate for it. Now, more promising targets might be ones that have lower champion points than the max, which at the time of this video is 690. If the target is wearing light or medium armor, that may be a reason for you to attack them, since they might not have nearly as much resistance, depending on the circumstances. If the enemy's not running Sword and Board as their primary bar, so if they don't look like they're running the tank build, that might be a reason to attack them. Or if they are a ganker like you, that might be a good reason to attack them as well, since they most likely won't be running around with Sword and Shield or as much resistance as anybody else who's out in the open would. Now, mind you, for the ganker situation, you definitely want to make sure you bring detect pots along with you, so you can spot them before they have a chance to find you at that point. Well, that's it for the video. Please like and subscribe or leave a comment below, and I'll see you next video.